And you don't have to be nasty about it. It's oftentimes when I'm in conversations with people, I don't want to make it sound like that I'm jamming things down their throat. I'm just trying to get them to think. Because people, again, it comes to a worldview issue. People have this mythical trust in government for some reason or another. They think, oh, government will fix it. Well, when has the government ever fulfilled its promises? When has anything ever come in under budget? These are questions. Another example. Say you're talking about current budget issues, and they're saying, well, they can't cut anymore. They've already cut to the bone. They need to raise taxes. And you say to them, well, what happens when a business owner has to lay someone off because they suddenly have to pay higher taxes and no longer have the money to pay that person, and the person goes on unemployment? Again, you don't have to be snarky about it. You don't have to be rude about it, but it gets them thinking. When they talk about government needs more money for education, do you think the government is currently doing a good job with education? On gun rights, people say all the time, oh, well, guns need to be registered, or we need more laws. Say, do you think gun crime will go down if law-abiding citizens are unarmed? I was having this conversation with a friend of mine right after the Starbucks thing happened. You remember when the person walked in with he was openly carrying a gun, and this guy, he's not all that into politics, and he was outraged. He's not liberal, but he was outraged. He said, Can you believe that this guy went into Starbucks and he was openly carrying a gun and Starbucks didn't even kick him out? Now, I know this guy well enough. I took him head on because he can handle that. He's an open-minded sort of individual, and I explained the situation to him. But had I not known him that well, I would have said, well, do you think that a criminal, if it was a criminal with a criminal intent, that the criminal would have come in openly carrying his weapon, or do you think the criminal might have hidden it? And that kind of thing, it immediately takes them off track because they haven't thought about that. All they think of is guns are bad, because that's what we've been conditioned to believe. Well, there's obviously, we know there's a big difference between a criminal and a law-abiding citizen. A criminal is not going to, if a criminal has nefarious intent, they are not going to come in openly showing their weapon. They're clearly going to be concealing it. So it stopped him in his tracks, and he said, oh, I hadn't thought about that. And he hadn't thought about that. So I better be wrapping it up. I'll go through one other tactic really fast. This is called the steamroller tactic. I wanted to include this because we are not the steamroller, they are the steamroller. Have you all been in conversations with liberals where they just plow right over you? You try to talk to them, and all they're going to do, they are going to hurl questions at you. They're going to throw out different arguments here, there, and everywhere. And when you try to answer, they just talk over you. They talk louder than you. You can't get a word in edgewise. This steamroller tactic is to deal with that kind of thing so that the conversation can continue to progress. Because otherwise, we get flustered and we try to either talk over them, or we just say forget it, and we go off and we stop. So the first thing that you do, there's 3 steps to this. The first thing that you do is the first thing that you do is you stop them graciously and negotiate an agreement. And I'll tell you what that means. You stop just graciously, and this is most of the time. This is the only thing that you have to do. Most of the time, you just hold up your hand and you say, wait a minute. Not quite finished yet. Do you mind if I finish my thought? Do you mind if I answer the question? Hold on just a second. I'll give you a shot. I'll let you in just a moment. Things like that. I mean, you don't have to give that whole spiel, but it just graciously, and ask them, is that all right? That's negotiating. That's getting them into, they're saying, yes, that's all right. I'll let you finish. Most of the time, that's all you have to do. And then the conversation can go on and it'll be fine. If that doesn't work, you shame them. And And you're not going to be shaking your finger at them saying, shame on you, shame on you. But you say things like, you do want an answer from me, don't you? I mean, you asked the question, I presume, because you wanted a response. I could be wrong, but you keep interrupting, so I'm not sure. So what is it? Things along those lines where this is for the person who you stopped them once and then they keep going and you stop them again. And if shaming them doesn't work, and most of the time they're going to try to lead you down rabbit trails, don't fall for it. Don't go down the bunny trail. Address one issue at a time. If that doesn't work, you leave them. Because if they're not going to listen to reason, then why spend your time? So the last slide just says practicing. You practice in conversation. It took me a while to learn these kind of things, but after a while they just become second nature because it's so much easier than defending and defending and defending and defending when they're not usually interested in listening anyway. You want to influence them, you want to get them around to your way of thinking, and you want to do it in a gracious and a nice manner. Because if they come to the conclusion on their own, instead of you pointing your finger at them and proving them wrong, they're much more likely to come around to your way of thinking anyway, because nobody likes to be told they're wrong. And especially nobody likes to be proven wrong. If they come to it on their own through these kind of tactics, you will have won a convert and you won't have to make them feel embarrassed.
Yeah. Please help me thank Heidi for the very nice presentation.